So the lady that I'm about to introduce to the stage, we're very, very pleased that she made it here because she had a little bit of a difficult journey, but she is here. She's come all the way from Barcelona in Spain. She is an animal rights activist and a musician, and she has an amazing YouTube channel if you haven't checked it out. Please welcome to the stage, Sonia Sae!
Hi everyone, I'm Sonia Sae, and today I would like to speak about how to deal with hate, and I'll explain a little bit my story and how I deal with all the hate that I got. So, for anybody that doesn't know, I am the person who I was defamed, and the media created a story about me killing my fox on a vegan diet, and the story, they took pictures of my fox that he had an allergy in 2015, a skin allergy that had nothing to do with his diet. He actually was fed meat at that time, and they took those pictures and made up a story that he was being like deficient in dying on a vegan diet, and this story became viral, and it was shared all over the world, like Russia, Asian countries, Paris, France, and UK, US, etc. And so I was known through all the world as the vegan killer who put like these extremist thoughts on her adopted fox. But who am I really? Who is the person behind that story? You know? And I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for the liberation of animals, all animals. I make YouTube videos, informative YouTube videos. I have, for example, the fishing industry in 5 minutes, the honey industry, etc. And I just released the first animal liberation song that has ever been published on people's platform. Thank you. So with that, I want to make you guys see that we are not we're not defined by other people. We're not defined by like the media or what haters define ourselves, but we define it, like we define ourselves. We are the ones who decide who we are. Thank you. Next thing I want to talk is about the media. And the media is, they are always manipulating the stories, you know. They are the ones who will shape the beliefs of the people, and they have different tools to manipulate people into believe some things or into reject different ideas. The first thing that I want to talk is sensationalism, and the media takes stories and directly either lies or takes out of context different things. And these two examples, for example, is the vegan kitten that nearly died on a vegan diet, and he was actually fed potatoes, rice, milk, and pasta, which is completely different than a scientific formulated vegan pet food made for carnivores with all the needed nutrients. And the other story is that French vegan couple whose baby died of vitamin deficiency made people believe that because the couple was vegan, the baby died, and not because maybe they were actually like not eating well, you know, or because there's many people who are not vegan who have like deficiencies and happens the exact same thing, but because the word vegan is involved with those with the sensationalism, what they want to make is the public to believe that it's because they are vegan that this is happening, and veganism is dangerous and people shouldn't go on it. The next thing is assassination of character. For those who are not familiar with this term, is the false dichotomy that someone is either a hero or a villain, and what the media does with this is that they will depict people who are actually fighting for freedom as villains, as bad people, and they will put words like violent, or for example, they will put in caps lock, anti-terror police or call against terror violence, which in reality is just peaceful activists who are sitting down in a slaughterhouse, like just trying to oppose to the violence that animals were going through. But because obviously that's challenging and putting in danger these corporations, they wanted to show us if they were violent. Also, this story about, most of you will know who Joey Armstrong is. He's an amazing activist, and the media quoting as if it was doubtful, was it this peaceful vegan activist Joey Armstrong compared dairy farmers to Hitler and told them to kill themselves, which actually was completely taken out of context, and they were strawmanning their words just to make him seem as if he was some sort of like extremist crazy person. The next thing that I want to show you is this quote, which says, if you're not careful enough, if you're not careful, the newspaper will have you hating people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. And this quote, I don't know if you guys know who said it, but it was Malcolm X. And that shows us that the media has always been against people who fight for liberation and against people who fight against oppression. And what I want to show with this is that always in history, people like Martin Luther King were seen as extremists, were portrayed as violent people. Nelson Mandela was stated as a threat to the state, or Rosa Parks was named as a terrorist at that time. What all these people have in common is that they are all challenging the status quo, and they are challenging and making people realize that people in power might not be saying the truth. So these powerful people and these corporations are the ones who run the media. And the media is the one who influences people into shaping their beliefs and what they think. The media directly influences adults, but it also influences children amongst advertisements, etc. And this is extremely dangerous because children are also influenced by the adults, so they are educated ever since the beginning and brainwashed into what these powerful people and these corporations want them to believe. And this is how hate is born. Hate is born with ignorance plus prejudice, which equals refusal to accept new information. And that makes, these are two different thoughts, like what you have always believed, plus something that completely contradicts this idea. And what this creates is a frustration in the person, and this frustration usually can be deemed to anger, and then this anger leads to verbal abuse, so hate. So what happens when we, as persons with feelings, receive this hate? Effects of hate, different effects of hate is anger, isolation, depression, illness, and humiliation. And I will explain from my experience how I lived these different things. So anger is when you start being poisoned by all the anger and all the hate comments of different people, or hate in general, which it poisons you and you feel like contagious, and you start feeling anger and triggered every time that somebody tells you anything. You're extremely upset with the world. And then isolation, when you start seeing that so many people are hating on you and you feel alone, you don't feel supported. And the thing is, even if you have people surrounded you, you might not see that because you're seeing so many people hating on you that you start feeling apart and alone. The next thing is depression, and depression I don't mean there's two types of depression, which is like chronic depression and state depression, and this is a state depression, which is a permanent state of sadness, and this due to all the bad things that are happening to you. You feel depressed and sad and like not being able to get out of that. The next thing is illness, and illness can be due to the depression and all the anxiety. Maybe you stop sleeping or stop eating, and all of that will affect your mind, and your mind will affect your body. So yeah, and the next one will be humiliation, which is like when all the people are hating on you and you're feeling extremely humiliated because everybody's like insulting you and people are accepting these insults and like jumping on it instead of like defending you. Okay, and so how can we fight it? How can we fight all those things? First thing, anger. When you're feeling angered and you're feeling like very frustrated, try to focus on good things. Try to focus on the positive things. Ignore the hate and focus on the things that make you feel happy. Because that's it. At the end of the day, they're just like comments, or maybe if it's like at work or with your friends or family, like ignore it. You can focus on good things, and that will heal you and will make you feel better. Next thing is fighting isolation. When you're feeling isolation and alone, the best thing is surround yourself with people who support you, and that is extremely important. I think that's the main thing that will help you with that, is being surrounded by friends or family, or maybe if you feel extremely alone on those camps, find a new circle of people who you can get along. For example, the camp out is a great example of where you can find new people to befriend. Fighting depression. Depression, the best thing to fight it, and at least from my experience, this state of depression was like finding something that would make you genuinely happy, that maybe has nothing to do with what you're living right now. And what I encourage people to do when they're feeling depressed is to create a list and write down all the things that makes you happy, that you like and enjoy doing, and try to do every day something about the list or something that can lead to something about that list. In my case was creating music. Music has always been a huge part of my life, and I've never shared it with the world, and actually putting myself on doing something productive really helped me going out of this depression, because I would find something I was being useful and genuinely happy. Next thing is fighting illness. As we said before, illness comes with the state of mind, and it retrofeeds itself. So everything that is making you feel bad will go to your cell, your body, your physical body, and then it will retrofeed and go back to your brain. So the best thing to fight illness is to block the thing that's making you feel bad. If it's a physical person, block that person from your life. Get out of that toxicity. And if it's a person online, it's even easier, because you can just block them or delete the comments, and then you will be able to focus on the positive ones. And the next one is fighting humiliation. Humiliation is one that is kind of hard to fight. But the best thing is to stand for yourself, be proud of what you do, and know your worth. And even if it's like, this is from a personal perspective, but if you're a person who's seeing someone who is dealing with hate, you can be that person for them. You can be the one who's gonna stand up for them and make them feel proud of themselves. Okay. And the last thing, I just want to show the difference between constructive criticism and hate, which constructive criticism intends to educate rather than embarrass. It's also related to the work or the thing that the person is doing instead of a personal attack. It helps build on that idea instead of tearing down the idea, makes the outcome better instead of making the person feel worse about it. is intelligent and calculated and thoughtful instead of fast and random responses that don't really like have anything to do with the concept that they're talking about. And at the end, it comes along to help instead of trying to take over or destroy. So that was it. Thank you for listening. If you want to engage with me, I'm Sonia Sae on my different platforms, but also I have my music channel on YouTube, which is, my artist name is Say Sweetness, and it's also in Spotify and iTunes. And that was it. Thank you. Okay, and right now, if anybody has a question or want to share their story, if they have ever feel hated and how they fought that hate, feel free to do it.
I'm coming with the mic, so if anyone's got any questions for Sonia, if you just want to put your hand up, then I'll come over to you with the mic. Yeah?
I'm just not going to take much time, but I feel like Sonia didn't fully express how much just pressure and hate she had on her. She was getting death threats regularly from this, so she was being very modest about what she had to deal with, but we're talking about just going, this was on the feed of the Facebook of all my friends and everywhere when it happened, and so there were people maybe that were like trying to find you and things like that and trying to hurt her, so this is a whole nother level, and it really goes to show that anything that can make a vegan look bad is like the best thing that people can possibly find to feel good about what they do. But I just wanted to give that background because she's being modest. All right, so now I'll pass it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
So anybody, any questions, just put your hand in the air so I can see you. Anyone? Am I missing anyone? Or stand up, or wait. There you go. Oh, I'll go around the front.
Hi there, a great speech as well, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I don't tend to look at negative stuff online. Could you tell what actually happened with the fox? Because I can remember seeing pictures, but I never really paid much attention. So what actually happened with it all?
So the story, what happened is like, they shared pictures of 3 years ago of an allergy he has, and they made up a story about like, as if they were actual pictures of today, and saying that he was dying on a vegan diet and being malnourished, and I was like forcing him, and he was becoming sick, so people became outraged about it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. Can you come to the side, and then I'll go up that side, and then you meet me halfway. Otherwise.
Hello.
Hi.
I just wanted to tell everyone in here that this happened over around a year ago, right? Just over
Yes.
a year ago. And even now, she's still getting abuse for the same thing. Like, this is not a past thing, it's still happening right now. So if you've heard this story and you feel like it's wrong that this has happened, please, please, please get on the social media and support Sonia and support each other if you ever see this happening, because it means so much to receive messages from people saying, I know this isn't true, I'm here for you, when you're getting so much hate. Because when you get the hate, it's the hate that sticks in there. So it takes a lot of love to get it out. So please, if you sympathize and if you're receiving any hate, support each other and support Sonia. Get on social media, message, like, comment, and be there for each other, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can see a hand up. Come in. We'll do you first, and then we'll go.
Hello. Yeah, so with like a lot of animal rights activism, you tend to get like a negative spin on it from pretty much all the media sources. So like direct action is pretty much always like a negative spin on it. Do you think we should be focusing on kind of cleverly trying to make sure that they can't put a negative spin on these actions, or do you think that we should just carry on doing them and the fact that they're getting negative press is like a sign that we are challenging the system.
I think that the best we can do is focus on our work of animal liberation, ignore them, and support each other whenever it's needed. I think that support is like extremely important, and yeah, I think that that's my advice.
Sonia, do you know who was behind the negative stories? Were they individuals or were they media?
Sorry?
Who was behind the negative stories about you? Was there individuals or was it the media?
It all started with a girl on Facebook who made like a random post, and this post became viral. But the thing is, like, the media could have, you know, like it takes 1 minute research to see it's false. But they fed on that story and they wanted that story, so they sorted it out because they have this agenda against veganism, and they use any grasp of thing they can use to talk against it.
So was it used in the mainstream media as well, or was it just on social media?
It was mainstream media, like even the BBC, etc. They shared the story. Like if you search my name on Google, you will probably find like billions of research on like the girl who killed or almost killed, depending on which source you get, the fox and the vegan diet.
Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, coming over to you. Oh, I'm here first.
Hi, Sonia. Are there any alternative, following on from the gender bit, alternative media channels where we can post the positive side and kind of counteract the negativity? I know you're saying to ignore it, but sometimes,
some good things came along. I used to have a small channel, but still small compared to others. But it grew a lot. I got a lot of nice comments saying that people who came for hate and then saw my side of the story and realized it was false. So it was so nice. And yeah, I think that the best thing is like just block the people who you see that they're only there for the hate and to tear you down, that they are not interested in reality. What I tend to do is always like maybe say it once, but if I see that the person is going just after me, it's like I'm not gonna waste my time, and I prefer to focus on the good ones, on the good message. Thank you.
Sonia?
Sorry.
So I just want to say thank you for all your inspirational work. You are an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
What I do find though, in the vegan community, we seem to hate on each other as well, a lot. And did you find that during the time with the Fox? Was there a lot of vegan hate?
Yes, it was a lot of infighting, which is so sad. I think that those were the comments that hurt me the most. Because at the end of the day, if somebody's like going after me and say like I'm abusing a fox, but they're a fox hunter, you know, it's like, I don't mind. But if it's a person who are like, I'm expecting respect, you know, and we're kind of like in the same fight, it really hurts because it feels like, oh, like, you know, I was expecting better from you. So I got a lot of hate, and one good advice that I could give is like, whenever you see a story popping up, is question it and search if it's true. Maybe it's true, but if you like search a little bit, do research, and if you find out it's false, just reach the person and show them support.
The hate from those so-called vegans because they were plant-based.
Okay, we've got time for a couple more questions. When you were talking about blocking the people in your life who are spreading negativity, how should we react to those who maybe in our family or our closest friends who are constantly maybe trying to make us question our beliefs and we can't really block them?
You mean my personal experience or in general?
Just in general.
Yeah. I think that sometimes it's hard if it's like a friend or a family, but if this person is being like completely negative to you, of course it depends on every case, but sometimes it's better to cut out. And if you can't cut out, just show them your limits. Tell them like, this is my space. I don't want you to talk me about this, and respect it, because we have to live with each other. I would say that.
Thank you. Right, one more question. Has anyone here got a question? Did you have a question? Yeah?
Hi. I was just wondering, do you think that because of the whole Fox story and stuff, it's actually given you like a bigger platform to speak up a lot more, or has it sort of made you feel like you've lost more hope in humanity? You know what I mean?
No, I actually say the first thing I started getting like, at the end of the day, at first you don't see it like this. At first you're seeing like the whole world hates you and depicts you as this horrible monster that you are not. But at the end, when you're still like, after some months or a long time, you start seeing the positive things. And the positive thing of all of that is like, I got a bigger platform to talk about animals, to reach out. Many people who came like with the Fox story started watching my other videos, and they were like, oh wow, I think I'm going vegan, like or I don't know, like I was inspired. So that's the positive thing that went out of all of it. I think that we can take, we can take that weapon that it's pointing at us, which is the hate and the false things of the media, and we can take it back and fight back, and that's what I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just think Sonia is an amazing young woman, and when things like this happen, I think all of us here now can make sure that we definitely double check all the facts before we're so quick to judge, because I think any of us can do that. We've all probably done it before. We all know that mainstream media wants to depict veganism in a certain way, so any of us at any time could become pawns of that. So I think, and this just shows how quickly that could happen. Just from a Facebook post, it became international world news, and at the spotlight was of course you, who had to deal with all of that. I don't want to say a swear word, but yeah. And I think that you to be standing here today, so positive, telling all of us how we can deal with situations in our own life, and to turn something that was so negative into something so positive, is a huge inspiration to all of us. So a massive thank you to Sonia Sae. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for coming. Just wanted to say that and to hear my talk. I hope it inspires you, and I hope you have like now tools to fight back hate if you ever feel like that.